Later on, you can ask to be moved, but you don't decide where you go. Okay? Which at first seems kind of strange, but like my friend John told me, he goes, it's pretty easy to when you watch somebody to see what they like. You know, if you like doing something, you're going to do a really good job and you can be positive about it. But if you're doing something that you don't like, you're going to do a crappy job, not happy, and so they assign you where you're going to work. Girls, basically, they start working with the mothers, and they learn cooking, cleaning, gardening, and all those kinds of things. Marriage, okay? They meet people from other colonies, okay? And this is a little difficult to talk about, but initially, the colonies were very reclusive. I mean, they didn't travel much, so they mainly married within the colony. Like my 100 people, they only married within here. And inbreeding, they had a big inbreeding problem. So my mom was in the hospital like in 1970, okay? And she was in her same room was a Hutterite lady, and she had like 3 miscarriages, you know, because then it was inbreeding. So what they do now is instead of just selecting my colony, they'll get a van load of young people like you, and they're going to travel 200 miles to another colony, okay, and have a party, and everybody gets to meet everybody, and then hopefully you'll find somebody you like. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to take you over this colony. So they really, they try to get the genetic base dispersed, you know, because they didn't at one time, and it was a problem. So they take young people to visits and on other colonies, okay? And so once a guy sees somebody who's pretty hot, and he thinks, I want to marry this, first thing that he does is go to the minister, his elder, and say, I would like to marry Karen. And the minister might say, yeah, that's a pretty good idea, go ahead and do it. So after the elder says yes, then I go to her place and say, can your daughter marry me? So again, I just can't say, yeah, she's pretty hot, I want to marry her. Can't do that. I've got to ask the elder, he has to give permission, and then the father has to give permission.
But at that point, before that, he should have known that she was going to say yes, right?
It'd be pretty awkward if he didn't. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, he would probably know that yes, you know, but you know, something could happen, and I'm sure, because what we just talked about, the elders might say, look at, you know, this gal, her mom and your mom are cousins, you know, and so you're a little too close genetically to have happen. I mean, you know, or for whatever reason, the elder might say no, you know, but yeah, it's if he asks, he's really sure that she's going to say yes. Chastity, you know, no premarital sex. They're pretty straight on that. They only really marry Hutterites. I mean, you could marry somebody outside, but they would first have to join the church before you could marry them. So if they come from 2 different colonies, the woman leaves her home colony and joins the male's colony. And again, for them, marriage is one man and one woman, and there's no divorce. They believe once you're married for life. That's it.
What do they need to do?
What's that?
What do they need to do that?
They don't. And they'll just live in eternal hell. You know, I mean, they'll just have a bad environment. So they believe if you work hard out of it and work with God, you know, He'll make everything right. But yeah, I mean, it's so but you know, and it's interesting. When I was growing up, so I was born in 1960. Okay, and even at that time, outside, divorce was a bad thing. You know, you just didn't do it. It was something like last resort. And so we had friends of the family that the husband and wife just did not like each other, you know, but they stayed married because divorce was bad. So they stayed married, and both of them hated their lives, you know, and just went on that.
So they can't get divorced?
No, what's that? Hutterites cannot get divorced. No, if they get divorced, they're kicked out of the colony. Yep.
So they can divorce if they leave the colony.
Yes. Yep. And anybody can leave the colony anytime they want to. You know, but when you leave with nothing. So you don't have $1 when you leave.
What about men when they are old and they don't want to get married?
That's okay. You don't have to be married. You don't get to vote. You don't get to vote. It's the only thing. So, yep. And so girls, you know, I've got to find this out. I'm going to have to ask my friend, because when I was putting this together, I was thinking, so what happens if you have a son or daughter that don't get married? Do they stay living in your house with you? You know, having your 40-year-old kids lift you up wouldn't be much fun. You know? But, so I'm going to have to find out about that. If for a while at least they do. They live there. At what time do they live on their own? I don't know. Okay? So again, it's communal housing, and it can be all kinds of different things. It can be individual houses. You'll see a lot of these. It's rows of apartments. These are some newer ones. These are modular homes. So there's all different kinds. But one colony will say, this is the kind of houses we're going to build, and you basically get an apartment.
Hello. One question?
Yep.
The communal house looks very good.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have to employ and hire the engineer or the builder from outside?
No,
Or
they do it themselves. They build themselves. Oh, yeah. They're incredible craftsmen. Yep. They do it all themselves. And so that's why they'll have their own kids become electricians. So they can wire the house, they do the plumbing by themselves, they do the dirt work by themselves. Yeah. Yeah, they'll own the equipment. Oh, and if they don't, there might be another, see, one of the things we'll talk about, some of the colonies also have their own construction company. So my colony might hire you to come and dig all the concrete foundations, you know, and there might be some other guys that are good at electricians, you know. But the other thing that'll happen, if we're building our houses and we're behind, we might send a message to all the other colonies to say, we need some help. And they'll send crews over for a week to get everything done. Yep.
About the architectures,
Mhm.
which means that they just build like one floor, do you think that is?
Nope, we'll build 3 floor.
3 floor?
Yep, whatever they want to do is what they'll do.
Okay.
Yep. And so this is what a Hutterite colony looks like. So you've got about 30 houses, 100, 150 people living here. So again, this would be a beef operation. I'm guessing this is housing for people. This is housing for people. This is probably the church. Back here is where all the farm equipment is. And then here's all their farm ground. Here's probably a manufacturing shop where they do stainless steel or that kind of stuff. So this is what a Hutterite colony would look like. So all the livestock's right around them. They're living right here. The church is here. Somewhere the banquet, the eating hall has to be. So that's what it looks like on one of their farms. Healthcare, just like everybody else, they're gonna buy healthcare. The county nurse, a lady like this, will come out and provide education. They utilize hospitals and dentists. Women's roles, that might be a little bit interesting. So one of their biggest roles is raising the family. Okay, that is their #1 job, is to raise good, strong, moral children. Okay, so you see a lot of that. And again, we talked about they produce most of their own food. Okay, all their vegetables, all their meat, anything that they can raise, they do. So they have huge gardens. So a farm size in Vietnam might be 1 hectare. Their gardens are going to be at least 1 hectare. Because again, you're producing enough vegetables for 100 people. So it's got to be big. So the women are in charge of gardening. So they'll do the gardening. And here is sweet corn, actually. So they picked all the sweet corn. Now the women are going to husk it, and they're going to cook it, and they're going to can it so that people can eat it throughout the year. A lot of times they'll make their own clothes. Again, so you'll have an older woman there show the young women how to sew, and they'll all get together and sew. They'll sew their own clothes, drapes, those kinds of things. Here they are processing chickens. Okay. Here, Grandma is teaching her granddaughter how to make a quilt. Yep.
Just say that they would can their corn, the Swiss corn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How can they can it?
You will have to ask Karen afterwards. She's the cannon.
Oh, I just told him to ask you because
Okay.
he
Yep.
didn't know, but
Sure.
I don't know, maybe they don't can their own
Yeah.
goods here, but, all the vegetables, they'll can the vegetables. So if I get a glass jar and I cook up the food a little bit, not too overdone, the vegetables too overdone, put a little salt in it and put a seal on the top of it and boil it until it pops. Then it's sealed, and I put it on shelves in my house to wait for the winter, because we live in South Dakota where we have winter and we don't have good fresh
Yeah.
vegetables in the winter or fruit in the winter. And so they have entire walls
Yeah.
full of jarred fruits and vegetables that they'll eat throughout the winter.
And so the other thing that you'll see, they're incredible bakers. So again, if you have 100 to 150 people, this might be rolls for one day's use, okay?
There you go.
Again, you know, so again, this would be another shot of the garden. Here's what Karen's talking, and these are gallon jars. So 4-liter jars are what these are. So these are beets, these are pickles, cucumbers, like with vinegar. Yeah.
Pickle.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And here they are again doing sweet corn. But here's something that's cool. So this is, you know, not only do they have big gardens like this, but they also have greenhouses. That's a hydroponic greenhouse. Okay? And so again, they think if we have this, we can start planting a month earlier, okay, and raise crops at least 2 months longer, so we get fresh vegetables longer. So they're using all that technology.
Your product are organic?
No, because they'll use regular fertilizer and that kind of stuff on it. It could be if they use organic fertilizer. Yeah, but very little pesticides and those kinds of things. You know, and the other thing that they can do with their excess produce, they will go to town and set up a stand and sell it to other people. They can just come up like a farmer's market kind of thing. In their apartments, they don't have washers and dryers. There's one washer and dryer room for the whole colony, and you get assigned a time. Okay, so Tuesday from 10 to noon is your time to wash clothes. So you take all your clothes, you fill up the washing machines, and you do them and you dry them. Okay, and so again, if you're cooking for 100 people, it's not one stove. Okay, so this might be a kitchen for a colony. So again, it's like a restaurant. Basically, you've got a restaurant is what you're doing. And here's another shot of some of the things that they use. And again, I love their bread. It's really good. Okay, men's roles. Again, patriarchal community, men rule. Women have no vote, and no direct vote in anything. You know. Exactly. Okay, so again, the big things are crop farming. Pigs and turkeys are their main livestock, and the goal is to run the crops through the turkeys or livestock. There's going to be more and more dairy. There's going to be more beef cattle, but they do a lot of manufacturing because what they want is diversification. Okay, so let's say the farm economy goes bad. You know, if crop prices are bad and livestock prices go bad, they want to have a different enterprise where they're still making money. Okay, so they don't want to have everything relying on agriculture. And so this is pretty interesting. So this is actually a picture of a turkey barn in my state. At one time, there'll be about 20,000 turkeys in that barn. Okay, they'll go from day-old chicks to 18 kilograms body weight in about 12 weeks. It'll take them 12 weeks to do that. Okay, and that's what it looks like inside. So it's a very automatic mechanical barn. So there's a colony guy. Those are about 18 to 20 kilogram turkeys. Okay?
He watched over the city, right?
What's that?
He watched over the city.
Yes. Yep. He takes care of the turkeys. And so when they take the turkeys from the farm to the processing plant, they put them in cages, put the cages on a big semi, and that delivers it to the processing plant. Okay? And so one of the things that I love about colony, they're incredible businessmen. Okay? And so for years, they were selling their turkeys to a company. And the company was taking advantage. They didn't think they were making enough money. So they started their own turkey processing plant called Dakota Provisions. So basically, 44 colonies got together, invested, that should be $120 million. So for $120 million, they built this processing plant. They own it, okay? And so it's been going for about 12 years. Every year, they produce 320 million pounds of turkey meat that goes through there. And it's all done by those Hutterite colonies. It's their turkeys that go in there, so it's an investment for them. So now they're making a lot more money on that. This is my really good friend, John Whip. He's from Oak Lane Colony. He's probably one of the smartest guys I know. And just a great guy, great friend. But this is what it looks like inside a hog barn. So again, very modern facilities. And again, everybody works in there. You know, so yes, this guy is not 14, but I'm sure after school, his dad works in that barn. And you don't have TV, you don't have a computer, so what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go see Dad, I'm gonna work with the hog barn.
I made it.
Yeah. And so here's what a shot of, again, some hog barns would look like. This would be a mill for the grain storage for the corn they grow. Then their hog barns are here. They've got a very modern feed mill. These would be barns that would hold about 7,000 pigs at one time. Okay? And just to show that we don't always have winter, here's a shot of another colony. These would be turkey barns. These would be pig barns. Okay? Feed mill here. Then all the houses are on the other side. You know, so one thing that you'll notice in all these pictures, how many trees are there?
Oh, none.
None. Okay, so where Karen and I live in the college, it's called the Great Plains. There's hardly any trees compared to Vietnam where there's trees everywhere. So you look there, there are no natural trees there. The only trees we would have